Hey Ghoulsters, welcome back to the Ghoulmates. I'm your ghost hostess, Mandy Spooks.
And I'm your master of scammerings, Rudy.
We are a channel that keeps the spirit of Halloween alive through tricks, treats, and spooky things. If you're new around here, we formerly had a Halloween podcast where we kept the spirit alive through pop culture and nostalgia. And we recently had to kind of say goodbye to our podcast to kind of focus a little bit more on our YouTube channel, but we did quickly realize that we have a little void missing in our hearts, and we thought that we would kind of try to bring back some of those elements that we thought worked out really well on the podcast. So without further ado, we're going to try out a new little segment called the Horror Corner with the Ghoulmates, where we review spooky horror Halloween themed movies. And today kind of just felt like the perfect culmination of events for the Ghoulmates. We just saw Candyman, the new one, in theaters.
Hey, don't say his name too many times.
Oh yeah, oops. So yeah, we're gonna kind of get into our thoughts. This will be a spoiler-free review because it's very new and we don't want to ruin it for anyone, but we did feel like it was just so important to talk about it. For those of you who are still kind of learning who the Ghoulmates are and everything we do, we know our channel has kind of focused a little more on the fun Halloween hunting side lately, but we did always set out to use our platform to have an important voice in the community and just kind of raise awareness on important issues. And a lot of that came through in the podcast, but we haven't really had an opportunity to do that here on YouTube. And so we're hoping that some of you can stick around for that ride with us, because we're really passionate about bringing in some more of this like informative quality content and some more spooky stuff coming up. So a little background, I had never seen Candyman. Had you?
Yeah, it was a really good movie. It was kind of it was like there with the other like horror movies with like, well, to me it was like you had Freddy Krueger, Jason, you had Candyman, you had Michael Myers. Like he's part of that too. It was great. I don't want to spoil too much, but that original movie kind of plays into this movie a little bit. It was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So I had never seen Candyman, and I kind of thought like since it was a reboot that you didn't really need to watch it. You definitely don't have to watch it, but I would say like if you really want to like enjoy it for everything it is, definitely watch the original first because it does kind of tie in. So initial thoughts, I will say going into this that this movie is definitely not as horror centric as I expected it to be. It does focus a lot on racial injustices and kind of just like raising awareness on some of the political climate that's going around right now. And I do want to just like state that I am not an expert in speaking about these things, but I think that that's kind of something we strive to do is have conversations even when we're not confident or comfortable with it, and just kind of try to put our best foot forward.
Right.
We are always a work in progress, but we're trying.
Right.
So something major about this movie is that it definitely took, I think it's setting a new path for horror.
Yes.
To be a lot more meaningful and tying in relevant topics. It's not your typical like go in and see a horror movie with a bunch of chicks and college kids partying. Like it was a really good informative movie. It was very moving. Just a lot going on in it. Do you want to talk about it for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when you watch a movie, I'll give you an example. Like when you watch an action movie, there's sometimes like directors like to like weave in political or some kind of message into it. Like you'll watch a disaster movie and usually it's like, oh, the environment is on the brink and you should care about it. But it's kind of really rare that you see a film talk about like political things, especially with social injustice, specifically with people of color. I think the only other director that I can think of that did that was George Romero. Like his first movie, Night of the Living Dead, they have this main character that's African American, and he takes control of like the whole group, and that had never been done before. And you know, that was done on purpose. And at the end of the movie, he survives the whole onslaught of the undead, but he in the end is just another black person that gets gunned down at the end of the movie. And it's just like, even in the zombie apocalypse, there's no justice for the African American people. So, you know, that's you know, fast forward to now, I kind of feel like that's happening in this film. And they kind of like touch on it a little bit. Like, it's very like subtle if you're not paying attention. Because I know there's a lot of reviews where they talk about how like it's scary and stuff, but you know, they try to present like, you know, things that are actually happening out there to people, but in the context of this horror film. And it's fantastic. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to say, like, I think we kind of came in heavy and like focusing on that because that's really what we took away from the movie. But I do also want to say, like, the horror elements are still there. The creativity behind the way they shot the scenes for this movie was insane, like incredibly
crazy.
Insane. And I think when I saw some of these scenes, I was like, it makes so much sense why this movie got delayed. It was delayed, right?
Yeah,
I think it was delayed a few times, and I just think it's just like the way that they captured something and told you a story and what was happening by also not showing you at some points was so interesting, and I really liked it.
Yeah, they did a good job with like hiding like the boogeyman, we'll call him. Just like out of focus, like somewhere in the corner, just like very split second. And there was a bunch of times where I'd look at you and be like, did you see that? And I would notice these little things like in the mirrors and stuff. And she's like, I was like, you're looking at mirrors? I was like, yeah, like I see all these things. There's like one shot where the main character is looking to the mirror and like he turns away and there's a delay. Like it's like 1 frame delay from the mirror to him turning. And if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. But I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
So
I
like
think
these little details, like just they try to make you feel uncomfortable throughout the whole movie. Not just like with the messaging, but just like the imagery. They try to make you feel uncomfortable, and I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And I think, I don't know if this was the same in the original, because again, I haven't seen it. I plan to see it now and probably want to come back and see this one again. But they did a really good job of only showing him through mirrors. Is that how the original was too? Okay. Yeah, that just like really blew my mind the way they shot it. It was so creative how they did it. Another thing that I really liked, again, no spoilers, but I really did love that they tied in the actual candy element to this movie, which kind of helped it feel a little bit more like a Halloween time movie by the slightest. And then I think like my only minor complaint would be that I do kind of wish they would have built up the scariness a little bit.
Right.
Like the gore, the kill scenes, like everything was done really well, but I could have used a little bit more of like a jump scare element to it. And that's kind of hard to talk about without sharing spoilers with you guys, but
yeah, it kind of felt really like almost Hitchcockian, where it's kind of like they don't show too much, just enough for you to kind of like think about like what's happening to people that are getting killed. And you know, everybody's, you know, imagination can run wild and stuff, and that's kind of like old cinema. Like they kind of did something on the side or enough off screen to make you think about the horrors of what's happening and stuff. And I think that's good writing, that's good cinema.
yeah, it was done really well. I will say, for those of you who have tuned into the podcast, you know that I'm not a fan of like slow-paced horror movies, but this one was like just the perfect pace. Like it wasn't your like crazy intense fast thriller, but it also wasn't like one of those like slow burn movies. Like it had a very consistent, interesting storyline. So I think it was a really good watch, and like considering the timing of it being released with like late August, I feel like it was just like a really good kickoff to spooky season.
I think so too. Yeah, it was just like the cinematography is great. The music specifically was really good. It was so creepy. It was really good. The writing is good. The characters, like
the acting,
you feel for all the characters. It has a little bit of like, it has like a hint of humor, which is is good. Like it's not like it's serious, but they sprinkle enough humor where like you kind of like it has like all the elements of just being human. Like, you know, you're happy, you're sad, you're laughing. So it has like everything in it. And even if you don't like horror movies, like it's not gonna terrify you, but it's just a good watch.
Yeah, I think this is definitely like one of those horror movies that like anybody could watch, because it's not too scary, but it does have like that summoning aspect to it.
That was cool.
And yeah, like I really loved that they had an actual like summoning scene with girls in the bathroom.
Yeah, that
no
was cool.
spoilers, but I just thought it was like so cool to actually see that. I did feel like they could have capitalized a little bit more on like social media and the spread of that like rumor of like the summoning becoming like widespread and everyone trying it at home and stuff, but I get that they could only fit so much in one story or like one movie. All right, so let's wrap things up with the very popular segment on our podcast. It's freaking bats.
It's freaking bats.
So out of 1 to 5 bats, 5 being bat-tastic, how many bats would you give this movie?
I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 bats. I think that producer Jordan Peele did a great job putting together, you know, the director, the cinematographer, you know, the actors. I think he did a great job. It has that feel of a Jordan Peele horror movie. You know, it's always good and it makes you think about, you know, social issues and just like the world around you. 5 out of 5 for sure. Not too scary, not too sad. It's just right. It was good.
I'm gonna give it 4.5. For my taste, it could have had a smidge more of a scary element, whether like some jump scares or like louder noises when he came out or something. But other than that, I thought it was a really solid movie, and I would say that it's definitely a must-watch in theaters. This was not a dual release, but it's worth going to the movies to see it because of like those details where you see him in the mirror in certain parts and just like the sound. And also, like I said, perfect kickoff for spooky season. You get to see all the horror trailers for the movies coming up this year. So I nearly probably like squealed out loud when Halloween Kills came out. So I was really excited about that.
Yeah, seeing Halloween Kills on the big screen was like awesome.
Yeah, it was exciting. So we're really excited about that, and you can definitely expect an edition of the Horror Corner when Halloween Kills comes out. If you guys love this segment, please let us know down below. Let us know which movies that are coming up that you really want to see. If you want to see this for some older movies, even though I don't know why we'd be in our car for that, but I love this setup now, so once I like a theme, we keep going with it. And yeah, let us know if you saw Candyman down below. Let us know your thoughts below. Please leave the spoilers out for all the people who haven't had a chance to see it yet. And also, I don't want to deter anyone from seeing the movie. If you're hearing this thinking like, oh, well, it doesn't sound like a fun horror movie, or I don't really want to watch a horror movie to learn about racial injustices, like, we ask you to please check it out with an open mind and an open heart. You'll still enjoy it. There's still some really, really cool callbacks to the original that I'm really looking forward to watching now.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely check it out. We think it's like a perfect culmination of everything the Gourmet stands for. And if you're loving everything we're saying, we would also like you to check out our Fight the Horror line on our shop that was actually designed all originally for the Black Lives Matter movement. So that link is down in the description below. And if you want to see another spooky video, you can check out this video right here. And be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the tricks, treats, and spooky things we're brewing up for you. Until next time, we're sending you ghouls and kisses.
Bye.